Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?
Your behavior is a reflection of your character, and how you treat others defines who you are. This is a quote from Robin Sharman. Good morning and welcome to Raise Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? We're here to start the day with you, our valued viewers, and on this vibrant, youthful platform, we tackle the conversations that really matter most. I am Oluchi Omenka, your anchor for today, and I'm super duper excited to share the stage with my talented co-anchor, God's Beauty Israel. Let's get started. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I love this glow. I love this new look of yours. And just for the audience to know, this is the first time I'm seeing you like this.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, yesterday I wasn't here, so I didn't see this whole new God's Beauty Israel. So tell us, what's the inspiration behind this new look?
There's no inspiration. I mean, I just literally recovered. I had like eyes issues, which you're already aware of. So, I mean, it just makes sense that I'm still like on that.
Let me give you this fun fact. So in secondary school, I used to pretend like I had eye issue. Do you know why?
Why?
I wanted my parents to badly get me these glasses.
Why? Because of the stereotype around?
Not the stereotype.
Okay.
Or maybe there was a stereotype around it.
Like, those students with glasses are like the most
super
brilliant.
intelligent
Exactly.
with wristwatch. She looks like very prim and
wristwatch is
proper.
added.
Yes, wristwatch and glasses made you look like you are on top of your game. You know what you are doing. You are reasonable. So I think it was a time I even went for eye test and there was something wrong. I think this one was like an allergy.
Yeah.
They were asking me to read out some alphabets. Confession time. I could see it, but I was saying, is this F or G?
Oh my God.
Because I really wanted to get glasses. I'm looking at it today. I could have gotten the recommended, as they'll call it, and still feel that intelligent. But how have you been? How's the weekend been? I know the weekend has gone. It's Monday, it's Tuesday already. But tell me, what's happening?
Nothing much. I mean, it's just the regular me. Things happening, which is normal, you know.
Normal.
Growth. Yes, now. Growth, personal development. And that's it for me. How about you?
I'm doing okay as well. I mean, just excited, fairly excited. Let me be fair. Fairly excited, but hopeful. I mean, I'm always looking forward to every day with some sort of hope, like hoping that something great is going to happen, something better will evolve, I'm going to meet better people, have greater conversations. So I'm always hopeful. I'm never the one to be pessimistic. I mean, I think that's a default nature of my person, and I like it like that. So let's maintain it. All right, today, ladies and gentlemen, it's Ways Breakfast. And you know, on this platform, we tackle issues that really concern us. But before we go straight to the hot topic and everything we have lined up for today, we would like to take this short break to reflect on significant event that has shaped our world. So let's see what's happening today in history. Amazing information. Thank you for sticking with us. Remember, you are the main ingredient in this conversation, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on our topic today. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702500749 or 0701424220. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to the official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this. Now, let's see what's making waves across the globe. We have the Guardian newspaper, we have the Nigerian Tribune, and of course the Punch. So heading on to the international space.
All right, let me quickly guide you straight into the Guardian newspaper. Main headline I see here, we have Starmer, United States backstop, vital to deter future Russian attacks on Ukraine. Below the main headline, we have Kyiv won't accept deal if excluded from talks. Top left, that's entertainment section, we have War for His Wildest Moment, 40 years of East Enders. Top right, that's the environmental section. We have the wasteland, the myth of plastic recycling. And that's what I want to quickly talk on. So we have here a report examines the inefficiencies of plastic recycling, revealing that a significant portion of plastic waste still ends up in the landfills or is incinerated despite widespread recycling efforts. It highlights how the recycling process is not as effective as the public is led to believe. Plastic pollution is a major environmental crisis with devastating effects on ecosystem, marine life, and human health. If recycling is not working as intended, it raises questions about the sustainability of current waste management strategies and the need for alternative solutions. The public is often misled into believing that most plastic waste is being successfully recycled, when in reality, much of it is discarded and processed inefficiently. This creates a false sense of sustainability and delays necessary action on reducing plastic production and finding more effective waste management solutions. So honestly speaking, I feel like this is something that we really don't talk about, even here in Nigeria. And most of the people that are into recycling are literally like just the private individuals. I've never really heard anything about the government and, recycling. It's only from the angle of, oh, this particular thing needs to be stopped producing and all of that. It's just like what do they call that now? Takeaway. Yeah, exactly. Just like they came out one time to say this, exactly, pack. Yeah, that we should no longer use them because of, just like the stops, the drainage and all of these things. But now, talking about like from the Western world now, they are also still complaining about it. Because the truth is there's little or nothing you can do to most of this, these resources. Let me give you an example. They are complaining now that most of these plastics that they keep complaining that they say, oh, we use it for recycling and a whole lot of that. At the end of the day, they don't even end up recycling them. Probably because they don't know what to get from after recycling. Do you get what I'm saying? It's when you know that, okay, we will have an end product. If we recycle this, that's when you're not going with the recycling. But this time, there's just one part of, oh, we'll recycle these things to get which things. But at the end of the day, they don't end up recycling them. Because, again, it takes us back to the fact that if you already know what the end product would be, if you already have like a plan that, okay, if you recycle this plastic now, you will get this. Of course, you see it go around, and the whole lot of these problems will not be talking about it. But if we have whatever we'll be needing the end product of this, thing, this plastic, whatever now, whatever we'll be using them for, is probably not even as important as it ought to. Then, of course, we'll always have issues, with the recycling. And taking it back to Nigeria, if you look at the way it is here in Nigeria, the least they can do is stop, the production of those things. But at the same time, we'd also still need them. Do you get what I'm saying? We also still need them. So I think we need to now create a balance. And if they're having an issue with it, I wonder how Nigeria is able to, get solutions. Now, there's something I saw, I think, on the road, or some very sure must have seen that. This person actually created, like, an image using tires. Okay. Yeah, so, those are, like, one out of many. Do you understand what I'm saying? So until probably our government is able to, like, look for a balance, like I said, they themselves are even having issues. Yeah. And, they are people that we look up to. So if they're having issues with recycling, I wonder what Nigeria is supposed to do. But I love the fact that, they already know what the problem is. And, they're looking for balance and where to just, solve it. And yeah, that's all I have for you on the Guardian newspaper.
Interesting story. Away from, I think your story is even fair enough. It doesn't have to do with death.
Right.
Because the Nigerian papers this morning has some really, let's say, gory side right now.
Really?
But
I thought they said we have headway yesterday.
We have.
We have.
in every headway, there's a stumbling block.
Tell me what I haven't heard.
No, that's the truth, my sister. Every headway has a stumbling block, and that's what we face every day. Let me take you through the Nigerian Tribune. The major headline reads, Chaos in Lagos Assembly, DSS invasion of Assembly premises, entering of chamber sparks outrage. I'll go away from that. Power outage, UCH resident doctors threatens indefinite strike. AU endorses Nigeria as digital trade champion. UBA Group champions space in Africa with landmark $500,000 donation to AU Peace Fund. Bandits kill 19 in Benue renewed attacks. Court restrains CBN orders from withholding Kano local government allocation. Commissioned in 2023 but non-functional. Pathetic story of 100-bed mother-child hospitals in Ibadan. UCH speaks. Senate leader leads Ekiti Central Senatorial District to endorse Oyebanji for second term. And the news that is making wave this morning is bloodshed in Osun. 6 feared killed as PDP APC supporters clash over control of local government secretariat. We hear of bloodshed a lot. Before I go to the details of the story I found in their website, we hear of bloodshed a lot when it comes to politics. Yeah. But many times, bloodshed for the civilians, as they will call it, the citizens. You know, there's this proverb where 2 elephants are fighting, the grasses are the ones that suffer. That's how politics have been painted for us. But having to see this bloodshed now amongst the militants now in this sense, it's quite outrageous. Let me read the full story because I just came across it this morning and it really, really shocked me. So it says here that 6 killed, scores injured in local government takeover bid. And no fewer than 6 persons reportedly lost their lives on Monday as a dispute over the status of former local government chairman of Osun State turned bloody list. 2 persons were feared killed in Iragbiji or Borikpe local government areas of Osun State, while several others wounded in other local governments in the state following the resumption of officials elected on the platform of the APCs in October 15, 2022 local government elections. And also in Ikire of Irewole local government, the APC council chairman Remi Abbas was shot dead by suspected political thugs. In Ilesha, a former commissioner for works under Governor Boyega Oyetola, engineer Remi Omowaye, pardon my pronunciation, narrowly escaped being killed as his vehicle was riddled with bullets while his office was set ablaze. And the list goes on and on and on. And this calls for attention. So different papers have been carrying different shades of the story, narratives, you know, the whole PDP and APC clash, how PDP is not ready to, I don't know the people that are currently in power. I think APC is insisting that their members have a legal right to return, and PDP are the ones opposing this. Just that power struggle and political tussle that we were used to. But this has really gotten out of hand to the fact that men are losing their lives. And a very good initiative that I think got me a bit appeased, right, was, you know, the involvement of the Osun State Governor Adeleke, in his effort to resolving this long-standing land dispute. And I think yesterday or so, I saw on Instablog the press he released, you know, it shows that he's very much involved, calling the president and ensuring that this is not just waved under the carpet. What do you have to say about this story at this time of our lives right now?
Honestly, I mean, if you check through that, when you're making mention of the whole thing on Instagram, right, where Governor Adeleke was, you know, complaining and was calling the president to come and assist, given that, according to him, that the whole fight and bloodshed, whatever, is also, I think, also starting from the nephew of our president. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, there's just really, I really don't know what's going on there, but I feel like, I mean, whatever it is, it really needs to be paid more attention to. It needs to be checked because you don't want to see this bloodshed now spread to innocent people. That is the one that wouldn't even make sense. Whatever, it's local government. I think it has to do with local government autonomy or constituency, something related to that. And we're seeing bloodshed, really. A lot of structures and things need to be put in place, because if we can see the law broken with people that we expect to, you know, handle it, what is the future going to look like, really? So let me go to the Punch newspaper, hoping that we see something better. But no, the headline reads, Chaos, Crisis in Lagos. DSS lawmakers bicker over daylight assembly invasion. Miranda refuses to resign. Obasa plots return. GAC to meet Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu security changed.
AU endorses Nigeria as AFCFTA Digital Trade Champion. ACF bars police from parading suspect. Controversial singer Portable declared wanted for assaulting Ogun officials. Ex-Sky Bank chair Ayeni rejects ex-mistress daughter. Above that, we see state project projects 3 trillion naira tax after reform bills passage. Federal government plans 2.3 trillion naira electricity subsidy in 2025. And the same Osun mayhem, ex-council chair, 6 others shot dead as Adeleke Oyetola supporters war. So this controversial singer own has to be the funniest story on this paper. Portable has had a lot on his table so far.
I don't know if that's funny.
Assaulting
This
an
particular
official
one, he
now.
brought it on himself. This particular story, I don't even say anything funny about it, to be for real. I've talked about this over. No, it's not. They're supposed to look for this guy and put him behind bars. It's as simple. There's nothing to laugh about.
For always breaking the rules?
Yes. This particular time, I mean, he actually just did the worst. Certain persons are coming to your bar, don't go bar to come and, check what's going on there. And they say that, okay, you don't have certain permits for you to even continue, your business, right? And they're saying that if you look at this place, it's too all choked up and, insufficient space, as they say, or as they put it. Now, what do you do as a reasonable person? Is it not to speak to them? Even when you don't want to seal, you pay them and everybody just go their separate ways. Which one is you're not calling your guys to come and beat them up? What's that?
Very, very outrageous. And the fact that this could be swept under the carpet and you see him release another song again and people are vibing to it. No structure. Honestly, we have a whole lot to deal with. But that's all we can take for the papers this morning. We're going on a short break. And today's topic, like I mentioned briefly or subtly, we're going to uncover or try to understand the conflict between lecturers and students. And this is taking a cue from a recent story about the Unizik student expulsion. So I'm sure this is something that has got you talking with your friends, family, or even associates. So today we want to talk about it on the show. And we have a guest, a seasoned guest who will join us to analyze it. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back, viewers, and thank you a million for staying with us. In recent times, the academic landscape has witnessed unprecedented challenges, particularly concerning the dynamics between lecturers and students. A notable incident at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Unizik, Nigeria, where a student's confrontation with a lecturer over a TikTok video led to her expulsion, has ignited widespread discussion. And this event not only highlights the evolving nature of student-lecturer relationship, but also underscores the impact of social media within academic settings. And today, we delve deep into understanding the roots and ramifications of such conflicts. And joining us is an esteemed management consultant, and we're supposed to have a TikTok influencer join us. Let's see how that goes. And of course, my insightful co-anchor, God's Beauty Israel. And together, we explore the multifaceted aspect of this incident, aiming to foster a harmonious academic environment. Good morning, our guest.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're super glad to have you join us again.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to ask Dr. Oludare, are you very familiar with this recent story of the Unizik student expulsion and the whole backlash with her lecturer? Are you very familiar with the story?
So I think it was sometime last week where it happened, if I'm very correct. I'm very correct with the
story.
Aware of the story and how that transpired.
Okay, so let's
and
start.
Her punishment.
And her punishment, yeah, very, very key. So from your perspective, I mean, seeing that you're a consultant and you're also a lecturer, your bio did state that, what underlying factors do you think contribute to escalating tensions between students and lecturers in today's academic institution? Because this particular story seems to paint the student and the lecturer. Other instances or, stories in the past, we see lecturer and student. So it shows that there's always tension that's happening in that environment or institution. So what do you think are the underlying factors contributing to this, from your perspective?
First of all, I would say that there's nothing happening that has not happened. Technology just makes things louder now. We had always had some sort of student lecturers complexity in time past. But the difference now is that what you're seeing in schools and what you're seeing now with this conversation is the evolution of society and the nuances that are now taking place in our societies. For instance, 10, 15 years ago, you probably would not have somebody just standing by the class entrance, putting a video and dancing to TikTok videos, right? You might not necessarily have had that. But of course, you might have had other scenarios where students and lecturers will have had to engage. Probably maybe a student complaining that the lecturer is harassing her or him, a student complaining that the lecturer is deliberately failing him or her because he doesn't like her. So there have always been problems. It's just that now problems are evolving, right? The interactions are evolving and we're having new challenges. And this evolution is simply because of how society is growing. With this particular scenario, I think my problem with it is the current boldness of certain people to just speak rashly and brashly to people. And this is not even student lecturer alone. It's just basically how broken down basic human interactions have become, simply because we have a generation that is uncomfortable with probably being under authority or being told what to do. And now there's a lot of revolts behind. You can't tell me what to do. Why will you say I should stone? Why you say I should, So I think in this particular scenario, that is the problem that we're facing. And and like I said, that is because of how society is evolving and how people seem to be thinking is the best way to express grievances or to express their discomfort.
Thank you so much. So I wanted to ask this, right? Given that, I mean, the main issue is actually from, social media and all. So do you think with the rise of social media platforms like the likes of TikTok, the likes of Instagram, do you think it has actually impacted, the way students behave now? I mean, of course, you made mention of the fact that before now, there's always been, a problem. But now, is it, worsened? And what do you think the solution should be?
Yeah, society has worsened it. Like I will always say, technology has a very massive advantage, but at the same time, it has altered the way we behave as people. I'm sure some of us have seen that article that spoke to the fact that there is now a mental state that comes with having likes your pictures online.
Yeah.
It alters the mental state of people just seeing likes, right? So what that simply means that technology is altering behavior. And once you have a tool or something that alters behavior, what you see is people beginning to behave in certain ways that literally would even shock you. You always say this that I didn't believe I could behave like that. Because maybe there are possibly underlying triggers that social media and technology is now creating. And you see for things like TikTok, sometimes people assume. Now, I don't have any data to support that, but there's an assumption that the crazier the story, the higher it will trend. Okay, or the I don't want to use the word messier, but how complex the story is what determines how much noise it generates. So when you have all of that, you will have people who behave in very, very strange ways just simply because maybe they want to have clicks or they want to have likes. That scenario is there. The second scenario also is technology and just the advancement and evolution of society is really breaking or blurring the lines to what we stand for, even as Africans and as a people, where we have the concept of mutual respect, the concept of family, the concept of a hierarchy, and all of that. So a lot of that is shifting just by social media, by technology. People are seeing what is happening now. People don't even know that just by watching social media and seeing children abroad, speak rashly to parents, and people make very funny comparisons. And, someone can think off the top of his head that probably is because of that kind of behavior that society is evolving or their society is better than ours. So it's crazy how just soaking up information can begin to create a consciousness in your heart and in your mind that you might not even be aware of. So you begin to react in a particular way that you cannot even trace the source of that behavior. but because you have had a lot of information in your minds, in your consciousness, you begin to act out a certain way. So that's what I think technology and social media have done to our generation.
Absolutely. That comment of yours is worthwhile, and it's something I'm going to take to heart, how technology is actually altering behavior, which is quite saddening. But I want us to go back to this incident. So a lot of people have had their criticism about how the disciplinary measure happened, and some people were thinking that some other consideration should have been made. I mean, there were some comments online that said that, when a student appears before the Senate, it takes a while before, any concrete action is taken. But it seems like this one just happened quickly, and the immediate thing was to expel the student out of school. So it's caused a lot of backlash here and there. So I want to ask you now, based on your experience, do you believe the university's decision to expel the student was proportionate to our actions? Do you think other disciplinary measures could have been considered? Or do you think it happened because this particular story was aggravated by social media? There are other, indisciplined action that students do that probably social media are not aware of. And then, of course, we see actions that are carried out. But this one seemed to be in the eye of the public, and we see an action carried out immediately. So what do you think about how it was, carried out?
Yeah, so you just answered it. It's because it's the fact that it was on social media and the school needed to pass a message. So in decision making, sometimes you can have what you call creating a deterrent, right? Now, that action was to create a deterrent, to tell other students that you cannot do that publicly and get away with it. Now, is it right or is it wrong? Those are moral conversations that we cannot have. We don't know what the parameters were because the school has its own corporate governance structure and all of that. The school will probably have a rule book that guides the behavior of students and even lecturers, okay? And so in this case, the assumption that the student even lashed out in the first place, that I use the word assumption that the student lashed out in the first place. The argument is, oh, the lecturer shoved her. And the man was like, oh, she was blocking the pathway. And I just said, oh, please, like, oh, no, like, right? And she turned and said, then you reach out. That's her, so there is no, you cannot, but understand that if I see her classmates begging, right? Begging her, you see? So it's funny. There's no how that you can escape this, and the man had a right to either hit her or, and all. Once you do that, you are putting yourself in the light to say whatever will come my way. So see them patting the other students. So it seems that it's somebody they know, right? Somebody that the students know or students understand to be. And you see, there were even other things that I saw online where some people who had passed through the university were saying, this man is not like this now, so there's also that antecedent to say, for this man to have been in this kind of fracas with you, you must have been the aggressor. I'm sure you know that also matters, right? They will say, oh, who this behavior, who is consistent, who can consistently act in this kind of behavior, right? It might not be a good way to judge, but when you put yourself in the public eye and put yourself in that scenario, you have given either the school or people opportunity to scrutinize you. So whether the school wasted time or did not waste time, they have their corporate governance structure. And for issues like this that were in public eye, the reason why it wastes time, right? You must know is because investigation is taking place.
Yeah.
Right? But this one, what are we investigating? We all can see it.
All right.
We all can.
Okay, thank you. So you did mention that, he had the right, I think I'll take you by that word, to hit her. So
Had the right?
I think you mentioned it subtly in a way that because of
No,
her
I said he
action,
did not have,
he was in his rights.
I said he did not. No, I said he did not have to hit a woman. No.
Okay.
He did not
I wanted
have
to be
the
very
right.
clear.
No. He did not have it. She's not in primary school. He's not in primary school. So even primary school students now, they don't hit them anymore. So I'm saying he did not have a right to hit her, right? So, but that conversation of maybe she beat him or tore his clothes, right? So all of that is the reason why probably the school will have sent to serve as a deterrent, right? But there are other schools of thought that said, why did he have to go for her phone, right? If he had passed and all of that. So, but like I said, the school has its corporate governance structure, and in any university, as far as there is no proof that the guy or the lecturer hit her and she reacted to being hit, right? then you put yourself up for that kind
but
of decision.
there are also some videos that came out recently that show that the lecturer actually touched her in very sensitive areas that also, triggered her to behave in that manner. So I don't know, do you think that something should have even been looked at from the lecturer's angle as well? Because that video cannot be easily dismissed. Some people, other critics or people are trying to be very balanced in their opinions of this, are hitting on that argument that this lecturer, I know that the student was not in her right to have been rude and all, but he did something to have probably annulled any right that he would eventually have. I mean, if somebody is wrong and then you do another wrong as well, it shows that both of us are wrong. So what do you think about that recent video that assumes that that happened?
One of the reasons why we as a people are where we are most of the time is because we're a bit sensational, and we love the concept of sensationalism. So let's be progressive in our thoughts. You are recording a TikTok video, a lecturer is trying to pass by, and he says, "Oh, like instead of bumping, like someone wants to bump into me, and I put my hand to right." I guess that's what happened.
Yes.
Okay, so he did that, then walk past. It did not even say what nonsense video are you recording. Like I'm recording video. The man didn't say that, obviously, right? He walked past. Then you turn and pass a comment. Okay? Then I think they said the guy came back and wanted to seize her phone. I think that's the conversation. Now, wanting to seize her phone was where the squabble started with the video you're just showing. I'm sure you can see them dragging with the phone, right? Now, in the midst of dragging with a phone, now I have a problem with that. Maybe he would have had other ways of seizing her phone without having to drag that phone with her. Probably, I know you, I'll take your name, I'm going to get your lecture or something else, right? So I agree with you that probably at this point, instead of engaging in that dragging of the phone with her, he probably would have had another way of, I don't know, of communicating his dissent with that her conversation. Or probably he wanted to take the phone to be able to keep the video. I don't know what that would have happened. But with these videos that we are seeing, I'm not sure at any point did he hold her hair, drag her hair, or drag her. We can all see that now, right?
Can you see this video again? I think I want you to watch this particular video. Can you see the pause?
Yeah. He's holding the phone. They're dragging with the phone. He's not holding her. Is that not the phone they're trying to drag with? That I'm saying they're dragging with the phone? Or is he holding her to drag her? Is that not the phone they're dragging with? Or is it something? I can't see. But I think it's the phone they are holding, Abi.
That's what we want to assume.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. At this point, I don't think it was beautiful of him to have been dragging that, because I'm not sure it's her shirt he's holding, right? I'm not sure it's her shirt he's holding. I think it's her hand or something. Maybe they're dragging for the phone. I don't want to get involved in all of that, but I just think that in this kind of situation, discretion should play. Discretion in the sense that you should, as the lecturer, have understood. You see, it's also crisis management, right? No matter how right you are, in that atmosphere and at that moment, there's a lot of, no, you know the way students' environment are.
True.
Yeah, no, well, he should have just been able to douse that situation and said, what class are you in? Can I have a class representative? I want, or something like that, to just be able to douse the situation, of course, right? But sometimes also you need to understand that people handle things differently. But like I said, in that situation, he should have been able to douse the situation. And if you notice, a lot of her students, a lot of her mates were going to her, because in this situation, it would be your word against his word. He's a lecturer, and they will say you initiated the chaos. But like I said, I would have held him responsible in this particular scenario. He should have managed this conflict well and not allowed it to get to this point of having to drag things with the students.
All right, thank you so much. So I want to make mention of this, right? I remember having a conversation with someone concerning this, and the person said one of the reasons why, this literally happened like this is probably because of the, teaching mechanisms or techniques that we use here in Nigeria. That doesn't happen like that in the Western. So I want to know, what are those global practices that you think the universities and lecturers should inculcate into their, into the educational system?
I don't understand what the person means by it doesn't happen. But people literally shoot. People usually shoot their teachers abroad. What are we talking about? So you see, it's what I still keep saying.
Okay.
The Africans must learn to understand that the white man is not better than you. Any small thing we keep relating it to, that's not correct. Where are we getting all that from? Like, people don't travel. We're not in the bush. We go and see the madness, and it happens everywhere. The reason, in fact, abroad is worse. People call by their lecturers by first name. You do anyhow, you might probably see anyhow. Nobody, what do you mean by that? It doesn't have anything to do with teaching mechanisms. It has a lot to do with how our society is evolving and how people are now interacting with each other. Okay? How families interacting with each other, how parents are interacting with children are interacting with parents, how workers are interacting with their bosses and their employees, right? How people are interacting with their neighbors, right? It doesn't have anything to do with that's what happens here. Show me the teaching mechanisms that will have solved this if it's not basic human interaction and conflict resolution strategies. Okay, is there a chip or something they will have put to manage? This is just conflict resolution, right? How do you manage and de-escalate a situation? That's just simply what will have been put to play here. It has nothing to do with any teaching mechanism. Or if you say the larger society and how we interact and how informal learning takes place in the larger society, probably you will have a good conversation point. But teaching mechanism in the classroom causing this, I don't think that's a correct premise.
Okay, so how do we now curb, right, each of those problems now? Because you made mention of the fact that it's communication, the fact that the society is evolving, and a whole lot of that. I mean, you made mention of the fact that in the Westerns they call their teachers by their first name and all of that. And I feel like some of these things are actually still, I mean, they're not into practice even in the secondary schools. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people say that, oh, that's how our teacher wants us to call her. Even flogging back then. I remember when I was a bit little. I mean, flogging was allowed. Caning and all of this. But right now, there's a lot of don't flog my child. If you flog my child, I'm going to flog you. If you flog my child, I'll take you. So I feel like you agree that the society is changing and all of that. So where do we start from in solution now? How do we curb each of this problem that that we have?
I also think that we need to be careful how we evolve as a society, because the basic fabric of the African culture is mutual respect. We cannot take that away. Now, we copy a lot from the Western world, but I am always of the opinion that Asia is a better representative of the African culture. Asians are very respectful, but they are well-advanced communities. Why do we copy other kinds of cultures and leave the Asian cultures that are similar to ours? Right? In Japan, for instance, children are respectful. Children give way for elders. Children know how to have conversation with elders. It has not hampered their development. It doesn't mean that they have not become an advanced societies. So I also think that we need to have more conversations around these things, okay? What really is the African's identity? It's mutual respect, okay? How do I talk to God's
beauty?
God's beauty or anything?
Whether
I'm older, God's beauty, whether I'm older or I'm younger, mutual respect is what our community is what our community is about. I must talk to you with mutual respect, okay? If I enter into a place, I see you, I should greet you and say, good morning, God's beauty, how are you doing today? Then you respond back, mutual respect. We need to start showing these things, start teaching these things. We need to start engaging more in these kind of conversations. One. Number two, we need to start understanding that a black man is not a white man. I'm not a pseudo-colonialist or nuclear, but I'm just saying an African man must understand his identity. You see, technology is making us copy very interesting things, right? In our society, we have respect for women. We have respect for elders. We have respect for children. I can't understand how we are copying very interesting things. So these things must we must start to teach them. We must start to show them in our films. We must start to show them in our movies. But like I said, it seems that if you don't say very interesting things, you won't trend, okay? Or you won't blow, like they say, okay? So the madder you are, the more you will trend.
The more you trend.
Okay?
Thank you very
You know,
much.
but yeah.
Thank you very much for your passionate contribution, Doctor. We're literally cracking out here. We'll have to take this short break. I want to hear more of your thoughts concerning this topic. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
Not a problem.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back, and thank you for sticking with us. We've been talking about this particular topic even behind the camera because it's really evoking a lot of emotions, a lot of comments about this, and we're continuing our conversation with Dr. Let me get his name. Dr. Oludare, forgive me. Are you still with us, sir?
I'm here. I'm still here.
Okay. All right, so let's continue this conversation. You mentioned that it's not a mechanism thing, it's not a teaching mechanism thing across the Western world and the African society. Let's now see how things have really evolved in the technological spaces. I mean, in the university, I just graduated from the university, we see how content creation is now becoming a thing across different faculties, even on the road. Sometimes cars will have to park or, tell them to leave because everybody is just a content creator. And there are sometimes that there are some courses that expect you to put out content. I remember a friend of mine that was doing English, they had this project and all, so they were shooting content across school and different things. So we can't take away the fact that, content, we're evolving, we're always going to have to carry that camera around and go with the trend. But now we want to ensure that students are able to respect academic decorum and authority, because if we have this thing on the rampage, we know that there are some people that are going to use it the wrong way. For example, this student that was expelled, I mean, somebody has mentioned that why should you even shoot a content at the corridor when you know that people are going to be passing to and fro? I think if I was a lecturer as well, I would actually push and tell you, you are obstructing my way, I need to pass and leave here. And probably she will also have that kind of, outrage towards me as well. So we can't stop content from happening in school, and we want to ensure academic decorum and authority. So based on your experience as a consultant in this, field, how do you think we can go about that?
Well, academic decorum. You must also understand that you're dealing with young people. When you're in a school environment, it's young people, right? The restlessness, the eagerness, permit my word, the gingerness to want to do those kind of things. But like I said, I also think that in this kind of situation, people just need to have discretion. You must be discretionary. And it's part of the things I say all the time. If I'm teaching you emotional intelligence, if I'm teaching you discretion, I don't need to. Once you are in 100 or 200 level, you probably will be 16, 17, or 18, right? Means that you should be able to make deductions or make decisions, right? If I'm shooting a content and I know it's a passage or a pathway, I would not do that just immediately after class, for instance, or we pull up. It's just discretionary. You see, some of these things cannot be taught. And because, when you say academic decorum, because of the liberty or sometimes for creativity or for allowing people to be free to express themselves, you don't want to become you don't want to run the system, because it's the same us that accuse some other schools or private universities of having too many laws. You right?
Yeah.
But the same people who get, you understand? So you don't want to be too rigid at the same time, right? But you see, that's why I tell people laws are not really to control people. They're just to say this is a boundary that all of us must abide by.
Yeah.
Because if you leave things to people's discretion, you really cannot know what the person's discretion is, right? My discretion can be to walk to walk naked from here to my house. It might be discretionary for me. But if the law says this is a standard under which we must follow, then we now know that none of us can. For instance, in universities, they did not get to a point decided to make laws for dressing. Even federal universities started to do it. Before we were created by universities, but federal universities started to do it because discretion for some people is interesting. Right? So even if you don't want to make too many laws to affect creativity, to affect the freedom that comes with education, the liberty that comes with it, sometimes you will have to put certain laws into practice that says, okay, please do not do this on hallways. If you want to do it, you can go to the open space. Do not impede traffic when you are doing this. All those kind of things have to be put in place, because if you leave things to people's discretion, these are the kind of things you create, right? So I just think there should be not subjective laws, but laws that have to do with having conversations with stakeholders. I know it's not a thing we do in Nigeria, right? Sometimes I think even universities should have conversations with students and say, okay, you know what? We're having this kind of challenge. How do people think, or what do people think is the best way for us to solve this challenge? Right? The students will then say, sir, yes, we have noticed it too. Well, okay, but we're thinking we should do this and do that and do this. But you see, because also the older people don't think that young people have a solution to give. That's also part of the problem. Students are part of the stakeholders in the university, and I think that universities must have points where they engage with students on this kind of conversation. Instead of just throwing out laws, they need to have some form of stakeholder engagement, whether at the departmental level or at the course level, to say these challenges we're having in this department, what's the best way we can manage it and the best way we can do. So I think engagement needs to happen, and students must always be part of that conversation. So it doesn't look as if we're just throwing out laws. It looks as if we're doing things that we all have agreed on, because you can't want to say you want to constrict people, because then you'll be stealing the liberty that comes with creativity and innovation.
All right, that's a beautiful one. So when the video that we all watched together, when I was checking through it, there are a lot of comments I saw, and I want to state this out. Now, someone said that, expelling the students is not just enough, right? Because according to this person, assault was being done. Now, another person felt like, no, the lecturer himself also needs to, at least, there should be penalty for also, probably starting something like that. You made mention of the fact that if he has not probably come back, this is in court now. If he hasn't come back, he probably wants to seize the student's phone. Then we won't be having this conversation, in the first place. So, what do you think the lecturer should have probably been penalized, in some sort of way? I don't know. Then the students in question, do you think just explaining that, or do you think just explaining that is enough to probably want to change such a person? Because it's one thing to say, oh, we're expelling you for these things you've done. It's another thing for her to go out and still continue, with her life and continue. There are a lot of things that you can literally do even without you having to go to school and also. What do you think about, the penalty given to both persons? Again, I don't even know if those... Okay, go on.
Okay, so imagine two of us were on the disciplinary board. What are we going to do to the lecturer? What are we checking for? For touching her phone, or for coming back to come and discipline her, or coming back to come and... There's no disciplinary that the lecturer will have faced in that kind of case. If he had groped her, right, or maybe touched her inappropriately, which people are claiming, but we have not seen.
And that's why they are saying he needs to be penalized in some sort.
Well, there's no proof that she was touched inappropriately. Inappropriately means you go, because if she was touched inappropriately, I'm sure those students will have reacted differently.
Definitely.
Right? Those students around that lecturer will have reacted differently. I've told you that even going online, I saw people talk on that. This is Dr. Charles now. Dr. Charles with you in fight. No, so there's an antecedent probably. That probably is also blurring our conversation. People are saying, this man is not a quarrelsome. This man is not a fighting person. Why? So probably that's also an antecedent for that decision, that the man is not a troublesome person. For this to have happened means that, so That's why I said it is going to be her word against his word, because his antecedent probably showed that he's not a quarrelsome person. So if you have, for instance, like if he was portable, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But
I think that's the right example. I'm so sorry, but yes.
I was in that situation, but I'm sure they will have called the lecturer too and said, we know that you are a problem, so you too must have been part of this. So but probably the man is not somebody who is used to that kind of fracas. So they will give him a beautiful excuse, and that's why they always tell people that, for instance, abroad, right? I don't know whether it happens in Nigeria. They will always say there's what you call first-time offender. They will say, "Oh no, he's a first-time offender," so it means it's not something he's used to, right? So that's nobody would have picked the lecturer on that. Probably he's not that kind of person, okay? But for the student, you already know that you are pitched against corporate governance laws that states that you cannot even in the first place be rude to your. First of all, you are even setting up yourself for discussion of did she not do it, did she do it, what should be a punishment, what should not be a punishment. You're already setting up yourself for that kind of conversation. So you shouldn't have allowed it to happen. For me, right. Because of my experience with how I think expulsion does not really solve this kind of cases, I would have said they suspended her for 3 weeks. And in that 3 weeks, she must go for a mandatory emotional intelligence training. Something like that.
Sarah.
Not in Nigeria.
So I have this, sorry to interrupt you, Sam, I apologize. So I have this other question that is coming to mind now, because this particular, panel session that happened with the whole student and lecturer thing seems to want to look like there's some sort of biases that can happen when a student and lecturer faces disciplinary panels for them to come up with a conclusion. Because we've also seen in time past where certain lecturers abuse students and then they go for some panels and we don't see swift, responses. We don't see swift sacking of the lecturer. We just see it, keep postponing. Sometimes I've even heard of stories where there were evidences, but these lecturers were not even told to step down or anything. But it seems like when it comes to the student angle, when they do something bad, they are the ones that are going to face it straight up and they are going home or something else. But if it's the lecturer that actually now did something bad, we see the protocol. So do you think disciplinary actions in the school environment seems to be biased towards students?
Whether you like it or not, there's a bias as we're having this conversation. Right? If I do anything against God's beauty now, you probably would defend God's beauty and not defend me.
Amen.
So that's just the way it is. There are nuances and biases in every system. And you see, that's why in environments where things work, they try as much as possible to create a corporate governance structure where nobody feels intimidated and the other. So we all know the laws. And once you break that law, you must face the consequences of that law, whoever or no matter who the person is, right? But in our environment, I know that the biases are more and the nuances are more because we're really very relational people, man, no man, like you put it, right?
Yeah.
And all that. It actually affects these kind of things. But I still would amper up. As a student, you already know that even when you have a case, the story is long.
True.
You now set yourself up for this kind of situation. What will happen?
There's no head.
Right? So that's it. So, but are there now more tilting towards lecturers and the rest? Of course, we have seen that. And even outside the school environment, even in life, there are always all those nuances, right? Something happened recently. I was driving, and probably when I'm driving on the road and I see people act in a funny way, I'm always upset. Why are you parked here? It's not a good place to park. After you will be complaining that Nigeria is bad. Look at what we're doing and all of that. Something happened to me 3 weeks ago. I was driving and someone was misbehaving and I went past and I saw guess what? The person was someone I knew. As soon as it was somebody I knew, the anger dropped and I greeted the person. Is that not bias?
That's bias.
All right, so and that's just the way it is, you see, and that's why sometimes they will always tell you recluse yourself from any conversation that is somebody you are close to or attached to, because a bias will come into it. If it's something you are recluse yourself because there's a bias in it, right? So, and most of these things, and that's why most of these things, they usually would use external disciplinary committees for certain things, so there's no bias involved in it and all of that. So that's where it comes. But once there's human interaction and there's all of that, you already know that there's going to be bias.
All right, so we're about to wrap up the show, and I want you to just summarize everything you've said so far, the lessons that students and lecturers can get from the story in 30 seconds as we begin to wrap up.
Beautiful. I want to say this very clearly. Lecturers must begin to understand that we're raising a new generation of young people, and how we have conversation with them matters. And we need to up ourselves and begin become more creative and innovative with how we have these conversations with this generation, because the generations are different. You are complaining about Generation Z, Gen Zs, right? Have you seen the Gen Alphas? Those ones are going to be a different breed, right? So we need to start getting better ways on how we have conversations. And for students, I will always say this: never lose touch of our African significance, which is mutual respect. For our fellow students, for our teachers, for those who are younger than us, for those who we are classmates with, always understand that mutual respect is very, very important. And that life is not all about what people think about you. Life is essentially about who you are and the things that you're doing with yourself and how you're making your environment a better place.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Oludare.
Thank you so
AkinlajA.
much.
Very insightful conversation. Thank you, God's Beauty.
Thank
Thank you
you
to
so
our
much,
viewers as well
Oluchi.
for joining us. So ensure to subscribe and join us again tomorrow for our mental health and health segment. See you tomorrow.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?